Right, thank you very much, Michael, for that, and welcome back to the Standard Group Center. Our topic tonight, the provincial administration row. Our guests have been on my far right, our Honorable Jeremiah Kioni, the Ndaragwa MP, a bit of a mouthful there if you come from my county, and Dr. Maurice Bondeyi from the Faculty of Law, the head of the Faculty of Law at the African Nazarene University. Thank you as well. We had left off the conversation, and this was the question that I was begging to ask. Honorable Mutudho has a proposal on the table. He says, since it is such a complex affair, this restructuring of this animal called provincial administration, what we should do is give it a test run. Start off with 5 constituencies within this, I think 6, he said, 6 constituencies within this 5-year period, and let's see what it should look like. Is a test run feasible?
The danger with that is that you end up with a gap. You have only 6 constituencies that something is happening. The constituencies,
the rest of us are looking.
The constituencies within 5 years, the national government must restructure the so-called provincial administration. I think what is important is just in getting, like Dr. Harry said, we need wide consultation. And we need to encourage more proposals to come on the table. And that is why I don't fault the internal ministry, the Ministry of Internal Security. It's important that these debates are generated are enough, because, and you know that we have timelines in this constitution, and there are consequences. One of which is that Parliament can easily be dissolved if we do not go by the timelines. So it is important that those people in offices, the government ministries, start thinking and generating ideas, so that again they know the goals, they know the objectives, they know what it is that they want to achieve as a government. So, and that largely informs any legislative agenda that is put on the table.
Generating ideas is one thing, but for a policy framework is entirely another. And there is the feeling that what is happening right now is the usurping of the role of implementation commissions, one that is due sometime at the end of November, to actually implement this document. Is central government and parliamentarians as well trying to usurp the role of implementation commissions?
And we need to make it categorically clear that the role of implementing or monitoring the facilitation and implementation of this constitution has been delegated to the commission on the implementation of the constitution, and we have the oversight committee also that would assist the commission in implementing it. When you read Schedule 6, Article 5, Clause 6, it's very clear that the function of the commission, that is the implementation commission, shall be to monitor, facilitate, and oversee the development of legislation and administrative procedures required to implement this constitution. Now, if restructuring of the provincial administration is one of the things that have been proposed by the constitution, then its implementation must await. While proposals are still coming, as Mheshimiwa said, the full parameters of how restructuring should be done should await the formation of the commission. Otherwise, we'll be jumping the gun.
Let me be more forthright. What we have seen Honorable Setoti put on the table, what we have seen the President do today, is that a suggestion, or is that saying this is the way forward?
I think we need to see the difference. The appointment of DCs, district commissioners, to me does not really get into the way of restructuring, because whatever system we come up with, if we are going to call them county county commissioners or whatever they will be called, those names will be there. The issue that is complex is the functions. How are they going to sit? How are they going to relate with the county government? And this is what we need to think, and think very hard. We have had a system that was not efficient, a system that has good things that we want to keep. We have the county governments now that are going to bring services that nearer the people, and people are going to have a bigger say, a bigger role in them. In essence, even also checking corruption that has been there. So what is important is to generate as many ideas as possible. The Commission of Implementation will be there and it will come. But I think it will be tricky if they come and find that no ideas have generated. And let me put it this way, that even when we have this Commission of Implementation, they will largely rely on the people in the public service to generate ideas, because we have things like Vision 2030. How will the registration that we are going to come up with sit also with the objectives that we have already taken on board to, that are propelling the country forward? So the ministry, the people in the ministries will have to come up with ideas, and feed into the acts or the bills that are going to be there. But the committee of implementation must make sure that they facilitate, they monitor, and they are also overseeing that process to make sure that we do not run away from the spirit of this new constitution. And again, we don't, because there will be competing interests, so that we don't lose what it is that we wanted to achieve with this constitution. And sorry, let me also say this.
I must cut you short because we are running out of time.
Okay.
But I will allow you both to make final submissions, and more importantly, to the average Kenyan, for whom perhaps a lot of this is legal jargon, and we're always saying it's subject to interpretation and all of that. How do we watch and safeguard this baby that has just been born, so that we can have the spirit, not just the letter, but really the spirit of this document being realized? If we could start with you, Doctor.
Well, when you look at the document itself, it's a roadmap that defines the direction Kenyans need to take. Now, the most important thing is for the ordinary Kenyan to know that while we have the roadmap, it's for us as citizens of Kenya to determine how we are going to implement and also follow this particular roadmap. The constitution in itself cannot, it's not an end in itself. It's just the means to attain the end. So Kenyans have got to brace up. No matter what is happening in the political circles or in the national circles, we need to know that at the end of the day, it's us Kenyans to decide which way we are going to govern this country and which way we're going to implement the constitution as it stands.
We need the Kenyans to be awake and to be alert and to really air their views. But I think it's also important to remain also fully awake to the fact that we have parliament of people who were elected by Kenyans. So when a parliamentarian is there, he's actually speaking on behalf of the people.
Speak on our behalf, Honorable.
Yes, and we will always do that. And I can also, it's good to assure people, Kenyans, that any act of parliament will have any bill or act or legislation that is done must be done through parliament. So when parliamentarians are debating this, they are not usurping the law. They are actually just doing what they have even been told to do by this constitution.
Let me say this. We want to believe that. We want to believe that when you're in the House, no competing interests are there, that money is not poured to influence how my Honorable will vote, and we will hold you to that, because the country is awake and alive to this new dispensation.
Allow me to say that if that was not the case, we would not be having a constitution on the table. It took all these members of parliament to do.
We'll give you that when we're out of time, gentlemen.
Yes,
you've been both such a pleasure to host. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
And for your views, and thank you for watching Newsnight. Remember, tonight's big question is whether Kenyans do need the provincial administration. We'll be hearing your thoughts shortly with Michael Oyer. Over to you, Michael, at our City Center studios, and good night.